The violence and the unrest just continues, folks, and we've been talking about this now ever since this show started. As a matter of fact, I hate to say I told you so, but earlier in the week, on Tuesday, we had outspoken Ohio Sheriff Richard Jones on this show, and we discussed the shooting of the officers in Phoenix and Los Angeles. Then this indictment is handed down, more violence breaks out, and as we told you yesterday, officers were shot, 2 of them in Louisville, 1 in the head and 1 in the back. Now, when I said what you're about to see to the sheriff, I didn't think we'd be talking about officers down this soon. Unfortunately, we're going to have more attacks on officers. Make this commitment to you right now. Hopefully you'll come back on, because I know we're going to have another officer attacked. We just had the 2 ambushed in Phoenix, the 2 ambushed in LA. It's going to happen again. The left's calling for more violence, especially with this SCOTUS revelation. They're saying burn it down. So be safe out there. Joining us now here on Real America, all the way from Butler County, Ohio, and my home state, Sheriff Richard Jones, whose county is just about, what, Sheriff, 2 hours or less away from where these officers were gunned down earlier this week and where these violent riots are taking place in Louisville.
That's correct. About a 2-hour drive right across the bridge in Kentucky. There's one county over in Ohio. It's right on the river. They've had these protests, and the left has put the word out that in the very beginning, this was a no-knock warrant. That's not correct. They knocked. They identified themselves. The person shot at a police officer, The police officers returned fire, and they shot the young lady. She was killed. An officer was shot, and the grand jury, all the proceedings of a grand jury, by the way, are all secret. It doesn't matter whether you want it not to be the law. All proceedings are secret, and that's run by the grand jury. They don't get released, and that's went all the way to the Supreme Court, period.
Yeah. I'm so glad you pointed that out, Sheriff. And let's talk about this no-knock, because in the press conference today, the attorney for the Taylor family, Mr. Crump, again kept using the phrase no-knock warrant. I watch Cuomo and Lemon and Maddow and all these hosts, because they're not journalists, they're hosts of talk shows on other networks, and they keep using the phrase no-knock warrant, no-knock warrant. They didn't even know if the guy was there. They didn't knock. They just busted in and shot a black woman. They're white cops, and this was a racist killing. That's not the facts. It's not the facts.
No, it's not the fact. Facts is they knocked on the door. They identified themselves. They had a warrant, and there was a reason they had a warrant. It went before the judge. The judge thought they gave them probable cause to go in, and they actually knocked on the door, identified themselves. The person inside shot at the police, shot a police officer. They returned fire. He didn't get killed, but the lady that was with him got shot. She was killed.
Yeah, and Sheriff, let's just point out real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but let's point out, that is a tragedy in of itself for everyone involved. Those cops have to live with an innocent woman that got killed for the rest of their lives. I think the boyfriend holds some blame here. He has to live with it, and obviously the family is devastated because they lost a loved one who, by all appearances, was a great young woman. She had dated a scumbag before, because the guy they were looking for was her previous boyfriend, who had a rap sheet, right, Sheriff, for being a drug dealer. They were actually looking for the ex-boyfriend. So all this is a tragic accident. She got caught in the crossfire because her boyfriend, who had a legally obtained gun, fired at police because he didn't hear them. And maybe they were in a deep sleep and didn't hear them knock and say police. I get that. That could have happened. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a racist killing or a murder. It was a shootout because officers were serving a warrant legally. He fired at them with a legal gun because he didn't know who they were, allegedly. That's what he says. We'll take him at his word. And she is hit in the crossfire. This is a tragedy, but it's not a racially motivated murder like the left and the left-wing media are portraying, right? I mean, you've read the facts of the case.
No, I read the facts of the case. The Attorney General, you couldn't ask for a better Attorney General. Great Attorney General. He's done everything that he could. He's done it correctly. And on top of everything else, he's African-American, and the African-American community are calling him a racist and threatening him. The movie stars, the media on the left have threatened him and told him if they don't charge all these police officers with murder, they will protest. And I watched these protests last night and the night before. These are very organized protests. I saw one person walking down the street, looked like they were smoking a joint. I wasn't there. They are on skateboards. They're on their bicycles. but the people in the crowd are organized. They're routing them in certain directions or telling them where to go. But some people are there just for the party of it, and they do what they're told. They found a sanctuary church they stayed at. After, on the way up, they knocked windows. They tried to set things on fire. They think it's a giant game. The night before, 2 police officers were shot. And same thing. And I told you on the show when I was there the last time, the police can return fire, which they do. You're not allowed to shoot the police and think it's okay and think it's a peaceful protest. These are riots. These are people that are out to murder the police. And the police take this. And I think America, no matter where you're at in the country, they're tired of the riots they refer to as protest. Peaceful protest is a good thing. I've told you before, everybody has been against something and has protested in some way or form, but you don't assault the police officers, throw rocks at them, shoot them, try to set them on fire, kill them, ambush them, and then you think it's okay to go burn businesses down and knock windows out. People have had all they're going to take. It doesn't matter what party you're with, what color you're with. The police are very important. And when people talk about defunding the police, that's crap. And when I quoted before, Al Sharpton says, we need more police. We don't need less. The famous pro basketball player was in the news yesterday, said, we need the police. Who are we going to call in the African-American communities? The Ghostbusters? We need the police. You can't send social workers in. And the flames are coming from the left, these politicians and these movie stars who think we care what they say. We really don't. It doesn't matter what party you are. People want, if you look at hierarchies, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's 10 of them. And the one at the top is water, safety, and being safe and secure. Your safety is right up at the top of the top 10.
Yeah, Sheriff, thank you so much for pointing out that this stuff is organized. We ran video clips yesterday here on the show showing U-Haul trucks pulling up and them getting out with their frozen water bottles, their big, huge signs, their baseball bats, their bricks, all the stuff. This is organized. This is paid for. Hopefully, we can get to the bottom of who's paying for it. I'm not going to throw out names because we need to figure it out. And at the end of the day, this defund police is complete nonsense. Sheriff Richard Jones, they're wrapping me up. You're always a great guest. And as I said at the beginning of your interview, I hate that I had to have you back so soon. You were just on Tuesday, again, discussing those officers being shot last week and the weekend before last in LA, then Phoenix. And now here it is, only 3 days later, and we're discussing 2 more brave officers shot, listen to this, folks, in the chest, in the head, in Louisville, because thugs and rioters didn't like the facts of the case coming out in the Taylor case. And again, I say facts, Sheriff, because you all remember that Biden speech from the campaign trail a few months ago where he said, we believe in truth, not facts. Yeah, you don't get to make up a truth. Facts are the facts, Joe. Sheriff?
That's a fact.
Thank you so much, man, for joining us. I'm going to say this again. I hope I don't have you back on anytime soon to discuss this.
It's sad. It's sad, but I'm afraid you will, my friend.
All right. You stay safe there in the Buckeye State. That is Sheriff Richard Jones from Butler County, Ohio, a very outspoken sheriff and a friend of Real America and One America News. Thank you, Sheriff.